Hello students, welcome to today's English learning class. In today's session, we'll be exploring the third chapter of your textbook, Discovering Tut. The saga continues. This is a chapter about an ancient Egyptian king whose name was Tutankhamun, which was shortened to Tut. Fine. It's about discovering all the lingering mysteries about his life and death. What is Egypt famous for? Egypt is famous for its pyramids and its mummies. They're not the mummies we all have at our homes. Mummies means the dead bodies which are preserved in Egyptian culture. My dear students, one day a boy asked his father a question. The question was, Papa, have you ever been to Egypt? Papa said, no, I have never been to Egypt. Then the boy retorted, Papa, if you have never been to Egypt, where did you bring this mummy from? He pointed towards his own mummy. So let me tell you, their mummy doesn't mean the mummy we have at our homes. Mummy means a preserved dead body. Fine. So Egypt is famous for pyramids and mummies, and many thousand years back, this king Tut was mummified. Mummified is a process of preserving the dead body for many years, using certain chemicals. Fine. Whatever the reason for it was, we'll come to know while exploring this chapter in between the length. Fine. So when this king Tut died, his dead body was also mummified, and this dead body was discovered by the archaeologist many years later, and so many researches were made. That time when King Tut died, medical science was not advanced, so doctors didn't have many tools to diagnose the reason of death of the person. Fine. And archaeologists' job is to extract as much information as they can from the past remains, from the past dead remains. Fine. Though in English there is an idiom that let the past bury its dead. There is an idiom I would like to tell you here. Let the past bury its dead. We say it's dead. We say in English that we should forget about past. Past is dead, and whatever is dead is dead. We also say that let bygones be bygones. So English it is said, let bygones be bygones, but archaeologists' job is to dig the past and collect evidences so that future generations can be told about the past, and so many things can be learned to build the future on. Since future is built on the remains of the past, as they say. So archaeologists, when they discovered the dead body of this King Tut, so they put the body to research. So this is the entire story. This story speaks about archaeology as well. This story speaks about Egyptian culture as well. This story gives us the reason that why did Egyptian people mummify their deads instead of burying it without mummifying and burning it as in Hindus' culture. So what were their beliefs? So we'll just get a glimpse into all these things. We'll also get to know the advancement the archaeology has made over a number of years. All these things will be explored through this chapter. It's going to be quite interesting reading for us. At the beginning of chapter, it has been typed as I read from the page in front of you. Notice these expressions in the text, infer their meaning from the context. So as these expressions come during my explanation of the text, we'll further explore and infer their meanings. So let's start the text in between the lines. He was just a teenager. He here refers to King Tut, Egyptian king, when he died, the last heir of a powerful family. This word is pronounced heir, H-E-I-R, heir. He was last heir. Heir means successor, like we are heir of our parents and forefathers. So he was the last heir of a powerful family that had ruled Egypt and its empire for centuries. He was laid to rest. Laid to rest means buried. He was laid to rest means buried. This is pronounced buried. Some of us pronounce buried. That is wrong. He was laid to rest, laden with gold. And when he was buried in the cemetery, in the graveyard, he was buried. He was laden with means lot of gold was also buried along with him. Fine. And eventually forgotten. And eventually he was forgotten, as is the course of life, that when people die, they are buried, their last rituals are done, and eventually they are forgotten. The similar thing happened with King Tut. Since the discovery of his tomb in 1922, his tomb was discovered in this particular year. We'll come to know who discovered it and what were the circumstances as we further the chapter. Since the discovery of his tomb in 1922, the modern world has speculated about what happened to him. So modern world, the modern scientists, the modern archaeologists have made certain speculations. Speculate means to guess, to estimate about what happened to him, how he died, because those times medical science was not advanced to find out the reason of somebody's death, with murder being the most extreme possibility. So nowadays most of the people believe that he was perhaps murdered. So the people believing murder as the possibility are more in number. Now, leaving his tomb, this word is pronounced tomb. Some of us pronounce tomb. That is wrong. Let me teach you here a beautiful grammatical tip of pronunciation, that whenever there are these two letters M and B at the end of any word, it is pronounced as ma only, like in the words. I'm typing some words for you. I would like you to pronounce while watching this video. This is thumb. Thumb. This is tomb. Fine. There are many other words as well, like womb. W-O-M-B is womb. So just correct your pronunciation if you have been pronouncing it wrong. Now leaving his tomb for the first time in almost 80 years. 80 years. 80 years is the span between the discovering of his tomb and the present day. And what is the present day when the chapter has been set in? It is the day when King Tut's mummy is being CT scanned. CT scanned is a popular term you must have learned. It's an advanced version of doing an X-ray of the body, whereas an X-ray records 2 dimensions of the body. CT scan records 3 dimensions of the body and almost creates a virtual body on the computer screen, so that the doctors can diagnose the entire thing present in the body, explore the entire thing present in the body. Tut has undergone a CT scan. The present is the moment when Tut's body has undergone a CT scan that offers new clues about his life and death, and provides precise, accurate data for an accurate forensic reconstruction of the boyish pharaoh. Boyish pharaoh, boyish word means because he was a boy when he died. He died young. And pharaoh is the word, it's the term that is used for the kings. Kings used to be called pharaohs in Egypt. Fine. So this is an Egyptian word for king. Forensic reconstruction is a word. Forensic reconstruction means to investigate something. Here dead body is being investigated. on the forensic parameters. Forensic is a science of making investigation in laboratories by the experts, and reconstruction means whatever the outcomes of the investigation, theories are reconstructed on the basis of that. A report is made on the basis of that. So reconstructing the theories on the basic of forensic science by the scientist in laboratories using certain pieces of equipment is the forensic reconstruction. So the purpose of the CT scan of King Tut's mummy was to find out precise data, so that an accurate forensic reconstruction, so that accurate statements can be made, accurate evidences can be collected about his life and death. Fine. So this was the purpose. This next para speaks about the weather on the day of the CT scan. The CT scan was being conducted. His dead body was taken out of his grave after 80 years of the discovery of the tomb. And what was the atmosphere? The atmosphere was highly frightening. The atmosphere was highly ominous, and there was a reason behind that. We'll come to know. There were certain myths about that. So atmosphere and weather is being explained here. What was the weather on the day of the CT scan? An angry wind stirred up ghostly dust devils. So there was an angry wind blowing. It stirred up means it moved up. Ghostly dust devils. They were, it was dust storm was blowing, and the dust blowing in the air looked like as if they were dust devils. They were of different devilry shapes. They looked like ghosts. So they were blowing. Angry wind was there. It was an ominous atmosphere. As King Tut was taken from his resting place was the graveyard where he was buried many thousand years back. It was in ancient Egyptian cemetery. Cemetery is a graveyard known as the Valley of Kings. That graveyard was known as Valley of Kings. Why was it known as Valley of Kings? Because the dead bodies of the family members of kings were buried over there. Royal people were buried over there. So this was the atmosphere. Angry wind was blowing, dust storm was blowing, and dust into the air looked like ghosts and devils. Dark pallid clouds had scudded across the desert sky. Desert means it was located in the middle of a desert. Actually, cemetery was in the desert. Dark pallid clouds. Dark pallid means pot pallid clouds. Ballad, as you know, belly is the part of a stomach. The clouds carrying a lot of water inside that, dark in color, they had moved across. Scudded means moved fastly, rapidly across the sky all day. Throughout the day of the CT scan, this was the atmosphere. And now those clouds were veiling. Veiling means covering, shrouding. Veil, as you know, it's a piece of garment with which females in Indian culture cover their face in front of the elders. So here it is being used as verb. They were veiling the stars. So the clouds had covered the stars in casket grey. Casket grey may have two meanings. One meaning of casket grey means it's a grey colored jewelry box. As pieces of jewelry are covered in a jewelry box. Similarly, stars were covered behind the dark pallid clouds. Or casket grey can be used for coffin as well. Coffin, a box in which dead body is kept. As a coffin covers the dead body, similarly stars were being covered by the dark pallid clouds. It was 6 p.m. So we are being vividly explained the very day of the CT scan to take place. It was 6 p.m. on 5 January 2005. This was the day, time was of the evening when the CT scan was being taken place in the Valley of Kings. The world's most famous mummy, King Tut's mummy, glided head first. Glided means put in a slippery position into the CT scanner, brought here. CT scanner, the machine of CT scanner was brought into the desert for this purpose, to probe, and purpose of CT scan was to probe, to investigate the lingering medical mysteries of this little understood young ruler, Tut. This little understood young ruler was Tut, and there were many medical mysteries, there were many questions related to his death, which were lingering. Lingering means lying unsolved for a long time, which were pending to be solved, who died more than 3,300 years ago. So King Tut's mummy had, sustained for these many thousand years, and after these many thousand years it was being CT scanned into the Valley of Kings. Archaeologists were there doing this thing so that they could collect certain data, and they could enhance the knowledge about the Egyptian culture. This is the job of archaeologists. They dig the graves and collect evidences out of that. It may seem to be a futile thing for common man, but archaeologists job is this. All afternoon, the usual line of tourists from around the world had descended into the cramped, rock-cut tomb some 26 feet underground to pay their respects. So this was the tomb. A tomb is a structure that is built over somebody's grave after burying him. All afternoon, what had happened in the afternoon or that particular day when CT scan was taking place, there were many tourists who had gathered there out of curiosity from the entire world. They had descended means they had stepped down into the cramped means narrow, congested, rock-cut tomb. The tomb of King Tut was made by cutting the rocks and giving it perfect shape. It was 26 feet deep underground. So these tourists, these curious, inquisitive tourists had stepped down into the grave 26 feet. They had come there to pay their respects. King Tut was considered to be a very respectable figure. So it was an important day in his history. So they had come to pay their respect. They gazed, so they just stepped down 26 feet deep into the tomb. They gazed at the murals on the walls, and on the walls of the burial chamber. That 26 feet deep grave is being named as burial chamber, as if a kind of room where the dead body was buried. So they gazed, and on the walls of that burial chamber, there were many wall paintings reflecting Egyptian culture. So they, out of curiosity, they looked at all those murals and peered. Peered means looked with intent, looked carefully at Tut's gilded face. King Tut's gilded face. Gilded is something that is made of gold. Now whether the face was made of gold or something else, we'll come to know. The most striking feature of his mummy-shaped outer coffin lid. Coffin, as I have told you, that it's a box in which dead body is buried, and a coffin lid is something with which the coffin is covered, the cover of the coffin. And the outer coffin lid, actually that coffin had 3 lids, fine, to cover it, and the outermost coffin was mummy shaped itself. That shape of the coffin, the shape of the lid was itself in the shape of a mummy, and that outer shape, that the face of that was made of gold, not the real face. Some visitors read from guidebooks in whispers. So there were some visitors gathered over there. They were reading from the guidebooks. They were carrying certain guidebooks comprising the history of King Tut, whatever had been written about King Tut throughout the years since his birth and death, in a whisper. And they were talking in whispers, they were talking slowly. There were some visitors who were standing silently, perhaps pondering King Tut's untimely death. They might be thinking over that how unfortunate King Tut that he died at such a young age, in late teens, 14, 15, 16, 17, around this age, or wondering with a shiver. Some of them were wondering with a shiver. Shiver means they were trembling with fear if the Pharaoh's curse. Actually, there was a curse associated with King Tut's tomb. What was the curse? You know, sometimes there are some rumors spread about a particular place, that that particular place is haunted. If somebody goes to that particular place, he'll be cursed by the ghosts. So there was a curse associated with King Tut. Now whether it was right or not, most of the times they are false, and they just arouse fear in the minds of the people. That death or misfortune falling upon those who disturbed him was really true. Actually, it was believed that King Tut was sleeping peacefully in his tomb, and whosoever would try to disturb in his eternal sleep, permanent sleep, they would either die or some misfortune would come in their life. So they were wondering whether this curse was true or not, because that was the day when King Tut was taken out of his was being taken out of his tomb. It was almost disturbing him in his sleep, so they feared that something unfortunate could happen. The mummy is in very bad condition because of what Carter did in the 1920s. We are again being taken to the past, to the time when King Tut's tomb was discovered. Said Zai Hawa, Secretary General of Egyptian Supreme Council of Antiquities. This is an organization, and Zai Hawass is the secretary of that organization. This is the organization under whose observation this entire process of CT scan is being taken care of. So when King Tut's mummy was being taken out, the secretary who was looking after this entire process made a remark that the mummy is in very bad condition. He found King Tut's mummy to be in a very bad condition, and he associated the bad condition of King Tut's mummy with Carter. Carter was the person who had discovered this tomb 80 years back. As he leaned over the body, as he bent over the body for a long first look, he remarked that Howard Carter, who had discovered this tomb 80 years back, is responsible for this miserable condition of the mummy. Now we are being taken back to the time when the tomb was actually discovered. Howard Carter, that is, was the British archaeologist who in 1922 discovered King Tut's tomb. So after 1922 and to 2005, these were almost 80 years being mentioned in the first paragraph. Fine. He had discovered King Tut's tomb after many years of futile searching. He had spent many years in searching, but his searching had gone in vain, futile, until he was actually able to find King Tut's tomb. Its contents, though hastily ransacked in antiquity, contents means whatever was buried along with King Tut at the time of his funeral. So whatever was there, there were so many things King Tut was buried with actually, we'll come to know. Though hastily ransacked in antiquity, antiquity means in the extreme past, it seemed that its content had been hastily means quickly, ransacked means searched through. Ransacked means searched through. If you ransack a place, you search the entire place thoroughly by flipping over all the things here and there. Fine. And after a place is ransacked, it is found in a mess. Like you can just visualize CID or anti-corruption bureau ransacking a corrupt officer's house, and what would be the condition of that? That entire process is ransacking actually. Its content, though hastily ransacked in antiquity, were surprisingly complete. At the time of discovery, it was quite surprising that contents of the tomb, contents inside the grave, the things that had been buried along with King Tut 3,300 years ago were intact. Nothing was missing. They remain. They refer to content, the material that he was buried with, the richest royal collection ever found. This amount of royal collection has never been found by the archaeologists in the past in any of the tomb, and they have become part of Pharaoh's legend, and they are so glorifying that whenever Pharaoh's story is mentioned, legend means story is mentioned, the mention of this richest collection also come. They have been mentioned in the legend, in the story as well. What was the material? Stunning artifacts in gold were buried. their eternal brilliance meant to guarantee resurrection. Now, what was the purpose of burying King Tut many years back with an abundance of gold, abundance of jewelry of pieces of gold, their eternal brilliance? Actually, there was a superstitious belief in the Egyptian culture that the brilliance, the eternal means never dying brilliance, the permanent shine, the permanent splendor of these pieces of gold would guarantee resurrection of the king. Resurrection means coming back to life again, bringing back to life. So they believed in life after death, and they believed that after many years the dead persons could turn alive. That's why they, instead of burying the dead body like Muslims do, or in many other cultures it is done, or burning the dead body, they preserved the dead body, they mummified the dead body with the hope that one day in future that dead body would become alive. It would come alive, it would come back into life, life would be restored back to him, to the person. This is the process of resurrection. So that's why they were laid with stunning artifacts of gold, because that brilliance the splendor, the grace of the gold would help in the resurrection process. So this discovery caused a sensation at the time of discovery. It became the talk of the town. Everybody was talking about this fact that such an great cache of such a great treasure of artifacts in gold was found. And still, after many years, they get the most attention. People talk about this funerary treasure. This is funerary treasure, the things buried at the time of funeral. But Tut was also buried with, besides burying him with stunning artifacts of gold, he was also buried with everyday things he would want in afterlife. As Egyptians believed that there was life after life, and the person after dying went to the other world, so the provision for comfort in the other world was also made. He was buried along with board games, a bronze razor, linen undergarments, cases of food and wine, so that in the other world he won't face any difficulty. After months of carefully recording the pharaoh's funerary treasures, so this entire collection, this entire cache of stunning artifacts of gold and whatever was found inside the tomb, this entire is being termed as funerary treasures. Funerary means the last rite of a person when he is cremated, buried, or mummified. Treasures, so the entire record of this was made, fine, so that a record can be kept for the future generations to inform them that whatever was found, so they can stay educated about that. Carter began investigating his 3 nested coffins. So first Carter took that entire treasure out and recorded it. Then 3 nested. As I've told you, that coffin in which the King Tut was buried, it had 3 layers. It had 3 lids at the top. So 3 nested, 3 layer coffins. First he opened the first layer. He found a shroud. Shroud means a piece of cloth with which dead body is covered. That shroud was adorned, decorated with gardens of willow and olive leaves. These are particular kind of leaves of the trees. Wild celery. It's also a kind of vegetation. Lotus petals were there, cornflowers were there. So these entire things of vegetation gave the faded evidence, though it was not clear, it was some evidence that burial had taken place either in month of the March or April. They could guess that these all were the seasonal things and they were available either in March or April. So they guessed that perhaps King Tut was buried in March or April. When he finally reached the mummy, having removed all 3 layers, when he finally reached the mummy, though he ran into trouble, he faced an unexpected problem. The ritual resins means sticky substance. At the time of burying, certain rituals had been performed. So those rituals, those customary actions, during that some resins were used. Resins means sticky substance, something sticky, like it might be ghee or something else, Fevicol, whatever it was. They had hardened with the passage of time, and cementing as a result of that hardening of the ritual resins, the body of King Tut had got stuck to the solid gold coffin. coffin was made of gold, so it had stuck, it had cemented. Fine. No amount of legitimate force could move them. So they failed to lift King Tut's body out of the coffin because the body, back of the body had cemented to the bottom of the coffin. So they tried every legitimate force. Legitimate force means genuine force, like lifting it with hands, using ropes, or applying some other genuine force that is not inhumane. Carter wrote later what was to be done, but they failed to do so. They could not lift the body that had been cemented, that had been glued, that had been stuck to the solid gold coffin because of the hardening of the ritual resins. So up to this, students will be reading today. We'll explore the chapter further during the second lecture of this chapter. Meanwhile, you are advised to go through the chapter explained so far in Between the Length and leave your queries with me at my WhatsApp number. I would love to entertain all the queries. Thank you very much. Happy reading, happy learning. Thanks, and take a good